Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? My name is Denonu, and I'm a man with black privilege. And the day is finally here. We're going to be talking about Avengers Endgame. And I'm not going to dive into everything about the movie. I'm just going to talk mainly with my thoughts and my opinions on the movie. Things that I like, things that I didn't like, things that I think that they should have changed, and that kind of sort of stuff. I'm not really going to go scene by scene with the movie since it's a 3-hour-long movie, and I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear me ramble on about 2 hours, in a YouTube video. So, Endgame here. What I will say is this. I loved this movie. As a comic book fan who's probably been a fan ever since 86, ever since, I just started getting into comic books around when I was 6 or 7. As somebody who's followed all of these characters since then, through all of the stuff in the comic books, all the various movies that all the different movie studios put out, all of the naysayers about Marvel when they were just starting to, make the movies. Everybody's, unease when they were making them, okay, can they actually make this work? And they absolutely did. They killed it. I would give this movie, on my own personal rating scale, a 10 out of 10. Now, I'm not going to say that it's a perfect movie. Definitely isn't. I have maybe 2 or 3 nitpicks that I have with the movie, and it's stuff you don't have to overlook it, but if they did try to explain those things, it would just lead to more stuff that they would have to put on screen to make the movie longer, or it would have just lead into more questions after more questions after more questions. So it's like you kind of have to gloss over it and just be like, look, it's a movie. I get that. I'm usually somebody who nitpicks at those, especially in comic book movies, because that's what I like. So I'm not going to jump into this and be like, well, I'm going to excuse it for this, but I'm not going to, excuse it for a DC movie. No, I'm going to voice those stipulations as well with this here too. The main thing about this movie is time travel. For those of you who don't know, like I said, I'm not going to do the whole, scene by scene of the movie, but the premise of the movie is the Avengers try to go take out Thanos. He no longer has the stones. They want to use the quiet film. They want to use the stones to bring back everybody, that he snapped away, and he no longer has them. So they devise a way of, let's go back in time, get the stones, then wish everybody back, and let that be that, right? But they go back in time, some stuff happens, and when they get back in time to wish everybody back, Denonu shows up, they all have a really big fight, end of the movie. Now, they reference a lot in this movie. What I like, I will say this, I like how pretty much every character has their moment. Tony Stark has a conclusion, Captain America has a conclusion, Thor, his conclusion, I guess, is still ongoing, but he has a lot of character depth that's been going on between, I think, Ragnarok, Infinity War, and this. So his story is kind of still ongoing with that. Love what they did with this one in this movie. I can honestly understand why some people would hate Thor in this movie. They pretty much made him the beer-drinking slob Big Lebowski analog in this movie, because he is so emotionally broken over what happened and losing his friends, his family, his Asgard, all of that stuff, right? And not only failing to stop Thanos when he did the snap, because he had the opportunity to kill him, but he didn't. And chopped him in the chest, as he told him at the end, he should have went for the head. So he feels super guilty about the fact that basically he could have killed him and everybody would have lived, but since he didn't, everybody died. So really like that about his character. It makes a whole lot of sense. They're not just using him as a joke or a punchline just because it's, a new movie. It has a point behind it. Really like that. This movie was pretty much centered around the original Avengers team, and everybody kind of gets their little segment and their little moment. You had a moment, I think it was like the first scene of the movie, where Hawkeye loses his family. And I thought that was incredibly messed up. Because he was just playing with his family. They was having a cookout or something, and he was teaching his daughter how to shoot the bow and arrow, and he turns around and like they're gone. And we know what happened, but I can imagine, like, as a parent, you turning around and your family not being there, and you calling out for them with that parent voice, and nobody's responding. Like, that would freak me the fuck out. So that was done really good. Black Widow and him had a moment in the movie that was done incredibly well. They were pretty much trying to do something on one of the planets, but for the most part, you had a lot of character back and forth between either one of them. I'm trying to think who else had a really deep moment in there. The Hulk never really got his moment to shine in the movie, though. If you were a fan of the Hulk, I can honestly say, like, if you wanted to see Hulk smash, this is not the movie they have him do that in. I thought that you were gonna get a good moment of that at the end, or at least give him a moment to do that, but they didn't. I don't know why. But outside of that, the movie was damn good. Like, Tony Stark had a few moments in the movie. You had a moment in the beginning with him and his daughter. Then later on in the movie, you had a moment with him and his father. And hell, just after the beginning, you had a moment with him and Captain America when he gets back to Earth and he's ranting about, the snap and things like that. You had a really good moment with him too. Really love that. Trying to think who else. Did anybody else have like any really big moments? You got good character moments, like at the end when they have a really big fight scene. You have the greatest fight scene ever in a comic book movie, happen. And everybody kind of gets their little moment to shine during that fight scene, even people that aren't in the mainline movies and everything. Thought that was done pretty good as well too. You even had tons of throwbacks and callbacks to the older movies. Hell, this whole movie is like a tribute movie to the MCU. Like, it's like every bit of dialogue has like either a throwback line or a mention, a wink and a nod to something that happened in the earlier movies. Like, certain scenes from earlier movies are in this movie because it's around time travel, so they're jumping back and forth between different eras and different movies, so you get to see like the same events from those movies in a different way, I guess you can say. And certain things that happen, like there was a scene where Captain America walked into the elevator with Crossbones and Agent Sitwell and a few other people, and it's just like the same group of people that he walked in the elevator with Winter Soldier, and everybody was expecting him to say that one line, does anybody want to get out, because he has to get something that they have. And he just looks at Agent Sitwell and like, no, it's okay, Hail Hydra. And like, they just give him the thing. Since they're Hydra, right? So they think he's working for them. Done incredibly well. Bruce Banner goes to Doctor Strange's house to get the Time Stone, but this is before Doctor Strange came out, so it's the ancient one that's there, not Doctor Strange. So he has a conversation with her, and they pretty much break down the time travel rules that the movie is going by for the audience. Thought that was done very well too. Like I said, a lot of winks and a lot of nods, down to even the last line, or one of the last lines of the movie when Iron Man, says, I am Iron Man. It's tons of callbacks in this movie. Like, if you're a fan of the MCU, like, if you don't see like half the movies, this is the movie you have to see, even down to like movies that aren't related to the Avengers. Like, they had like the scene in Guardians 1 when Quill is singing in the beginning when he's getting the Power Stone. They had, you saw that. And in the movie, it's cool because you're hearing the music and you're, singing along with them, right? But it shows like War Machine and Nebula looking at him, and they don't hear the music, so they just see him dancing, and they're like, so he's an idiot. He was like, yeah. Tons of throwback moments. The movie was damn good. The only problem with it is like, there's a couple things that to me is like, like I said, I don't want to spoil anything too deep, but mostly main things revolving around Tony Stark and his his ability to create different things. And I don't think he's capable of that, even in the MCU. I know they tout him as being the smartest person in the MCU, which I want to believe it, but at the same time, it's like I doubt it too, because I know the character. And even in the comic book, he's not the smartest guy in the comic. But even in the movie, it's like, your tech isn't good enough, you know? But I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but I just don't want to spoil anything right out the gate here. But the movie was damn good. 3 hours long. I wish it was longer. I wish it was 6. I'm not somebody who wants movies to be like an hour and a half to 2 hours. No, fuck that. Make it 6 hours. I want, make Infinity War, make it 3 movies, and give me a whole nother movie. You know, but I will say this. Everybody, all the warriors get called out at the end of this movie during that fight scene. That fight scene was incredibly good. I know I said it probably like 3 or 4 times, but I'm going to say it again. It was incredibly good. And it leaves me wondering as a fan who knows the characters, who knows the comic books and everything like that, like, where do they go from here? Given the rules and given the precedent that they set with this movie, I have no idea what they're gonna do to go forward. Normally I can be like, okay, well in comic books they did A, B, and C. They had a storyline where they can do this, and this, but given what they did, like, certain characters are just done. Like Iron Man, done. Captain America, done. And I can't see them making a new movie and then just be like, oh, let me just go back and just bring them back, and like 3 movies down the line. I can't see that, because that would invalidate everything that this movie has set for its rules, So the only thing I could think of that they might do is, before this movie came out and before I seen it, I thought they were gonna do a reset. I thought at the end of this movie, no matter what happens, somebody's gonna get the stones, something happens, somebody, does something that kind of either resets, the movies. So let's say so Thanos never happened, and well, not Thanos never happened, but Thanos never got, all the stones. He never snapped away anybody, things like that. Or basically wipe away the entire MCU. Somehow fully reset the MCU. And then you can have mutants, Fantastic Four, X-Men, a new line of movies that you can do and still have all of the same characters, but now it's essentially a different timeline. It's like a completely different, like a reset where things can happen differently, where we got one universe of movies, but now that everything has been took back, you can do something else. That's what I thought they were going to do, but I'll be goddamned if I was wrong about that one. They definitely didn't do that. They pretty much kept everything the same. Like, at the end of this movie, like I said, certain characters are done. They bring back everybody from the snap, and that's cool, but anything before the snap, those people are still dead. So Asgard is still gone. Certain people with certain things that happen in this movie, they're gone. The only other thing I didn't like is because I think they kind of messed it up, with a couple things, and I'm going to touch on that probably in the next video. I'm probably going to split up this commentary between spoiler and non-spoiler, so I don't want to dive into too much with this here, but in my next one that I do, when I do the follow-up, when we talk about spoilers, I think they kind of ended the movie off with a plot hole, and it could just be me. Maybe I'm the only one who's thinking that, but I'll touch on that in the next part that I do with this here. But movie was damn good, people. Go see it. It's one of those things where they could end the MCU right now, and like, this would be a complete movie. This is a finale to the story that they've set up, and they definitely did end it that way. The credit scenes had a bunch of stuff in it, showcasing all the characters from different movies. The character arcs come to a close rather, and this this definitely did have that epic ending weight to it. Like, it feels like they might not make movies, but we know that they got more movies lined up. At least Spider-Man does. Spider-Man and Black Widow. Anything after that, you know, I'm assuming Black Widow is going to be a prequel movie, but anything that they're going to do after that, I mean, like, I knew they were going to end it some kind of way because contracts are probably up, and I'm pretty sure Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. don't want to re-up for like another 10 movies. But I thought they were going to sit on it. I thought they were going to, like, once this movie's done, everything was going to get reset or whatever, get changed, and then they would just sit on the movies for like 5 years. And then they can come out and be like, look, now they can start bringing in X-Men, Fantastic Four, with the newer characters that they previously set up, and we would get a new Avengers team with like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man, you know, that kind of thing, you know, do like a new Avengers type thing. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get any of that. I mean, it's one of those things, like, I know it's coming, but I just don't know in what form or how they're going to do it. I really don't. Because, like I said, I think this movie ended off on like a plot hole that kind of changed everything. And I'm going to touch on that in another video, but it's one of those things where by them ending this movie like that, and then it changes like the rest. It kind of, without diving into too much, the thing that happens invalidates everything that happened before it. You know, it's kind of one of those things. Maybe not Thanos, maybe not the Infinity Stones, but as far as the characters, like the Avengers, you know, everybody else, maybe not Black Panther, but all the Avengers, Spider-Man, all of that stuff. Well, Spider-Man as we know it, I should say. It kind of invalidates all of that. So it's like, I don't think people know how bad that ending plot hole is. Or maybe it's just I'm the only one who thinks that way, and maybe it's not a plot hole to everybody. But given the rules that they set, unless I miss something, that's gonna create a different timeline. So, you know, it is what it is. But like I said before, go see it. Why are you watching my video? Go watch, you know, this movie. See it twice. I know I went and saw it. It was IMAX at like 2:30 in the morning. I wanted to go see it. I didn't get out the movie theater till like 6 o'clock, 5:30 going on 6. Felt kind of weird going to a movie theater at night, but movie was damn good. Damn good. Hollywood and other studios should take notes. They really should. The only one main problem I can say I can touch on is, well, without diving into spoilers, is I wish this movie didn't use time travel as a gimmick. You know, usually when movies do that, it's a slippery slope and things kind of fall to the wayside and stuff like that. But I mean, it's cool. I know Marvel uses the, I forget what they technically call it, but it's like the branch universe theory, where, and that's what I said about it kind of invalidating everything before, is in Marvel, it's not like Back to the Future, where like you go back in time, where everything's on like a set path. So if you go back in time and you change something, that changes the future, you know? Marvel uses, and even in their comic books, they use this too. It's like the branch universe theory, where if I go back in time and change something, that's not going to change the future where I'm from. That's just going to create another timeline splintering off from that point. So you have my timeline where I came from, and then you have this alternate future that existed because I went back and changed something. And that's, you know, that's how they do it in the comic books, and that's how they do it in this movie. And I think they kind of wrapped up a bunch of things at the end, but it's that one thing at the very end where I'm like, oh, I think they probably messed that up. And they probably didn't realize it, but it was a good way of ending, you know, a character, so they just let it go. And I think by them doing that they didn't realize all the changes that came because of that, you know, or they're just maybe hoping people overlook it and just say, fuck it, well, we just, you know, don't care, you know, because of how good it was. But I just have to, you know, I have to make note of it, and I'm going to be talking about it in depth in my next video. But anyways, guys, that's just been a spoiler-free, you know, as spoiler-free as I can be, commentary / review / opinions, whatever you want to call it, about Avengers Endgame. And in the next video here, we're going to be talking about spoilers. and I'm gonna get into depth about my few things that I don't like. I made a whole list, and we're gonna be talking about every one of them. So my name is Denonu, and I'm the man with black privilege, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.